Conclusive proof of the propaganda spun into our minds via film and music is found when you look into the agendas of think tanks like the Frankfurt School and the Tavistock Institute. Agendas from groups like these point to the fact that a handful of people have been responsible for not only selling us wars for over 100 years, but that they do indeed have a hand in directly shaping our culture, our ideas, even our very belief or disbelief in God. And our acceptance of the surveillance grid is only one part of their plan. A lifelong New World Order strategist named Zbigniew Brzezinski wrote openly about the ultimate plans for the elite to take complete control of the masses. Brzezinski, who, fun fact, secretly funded and even gave personal pep talks to Islamic militants under Carter, which incidentally became the birth of the Taliban, Osama bin Laden, and the likes of ISIS today.
U.S. National Security Advisor Brzezinski flew to Pakistan to set about rallying resistance. He wanted to arm the Mujahideen without revealing America's role. On the Afghan border near the Khyber Pass, he urged the soldiers of God to redouble their efforts.
We know of their deep belief in God, and we are confident that their struggle will succeed. You know, that land over there is yours. You'll go back to it one day because your fight will prevail and you'll have your homes and your mosques back again because your cause is right and God is on your side.
Zbig had his fingers in many pieces of the New World Order pie for several decades, serving presidents both right and left. The following statement, taken from his book written in 1970, makes it obvious that the 5G linchpin has been planned for a long time. But notice what he mentions would be necessary to make it work. The technotronic era involves the gradual appearance of a more controlled society. Such a society would be dominated by an elite and unrestrained by traditional values. Soon, it will be possible to assert almost continuous surveillance over every citizen and maintain up-to-date complete files containing even the most personal information. Notice that he states the society must be unrestrained by traditional values. This is key, for that was a huge component that had to be accomplished. The goal of removing those pesky traditional values had to be completely eroded before the people would willingly succumb to such a completely controlled society. And as he admitted, this controlled society would come in gradually. So, our traditional values had to be eroded gradually as well. For those who don't know, what are traditional values? Well, the once very strong belief in and strength of the family had to go. Because when you lose a strong family, you lose the security and belonging that comes with it. Without a strong foundation of support, you have less chance of mustering strength to resist external forces. This is Warfare 101. Traditional values like compassion had to be replaced with narcissism. Valuing freedom had to be replaced with embracing groupthink or the hive mind. And of course, the values of morality coming from a faith in a righteous God had to be replaced with its opposite, or nihilism, the do what thou wilt, being the whole of the law. So, media had to gradually glamorize the latter and mock the former, to make belief in God and the spiritual war we all face uncool or even a sick joke. If you think I'm grasping for straws, consider the manipulation tactics by the man called the father of spin, or Edward Bernays. Nephew of Sigmund Freud, Bernays' work was instrumental in defining the goals and strategies of the masses via manipulations of individual unconscious desires, as well as using crowd psychology and herd instincts to influence their perceptions. In his book called Propaganda, he said, "In almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind. A couple of examples of Bernays' fine work spinning include his great increase in profits for the American Tobacco Company, when he took on the challenge of changing the current taboo of women smoking in public.
Every year, New York held an Easter Day parade to which thousands came. And Bernays decided to stage an event there. He persuaded a group of rich debutantes to hide cigarettes under their clothes. Then they should join the parade, and at a given signal from him, they were to light up the cigarettes dramatically. Bernays then informed the press that he had heard that a group of suffragettes were preparing to protest by lighting up what they called torches of freedom.
To do so, he arranged a group of women to proudly march in a New York City parade. Sound familiar? Puffing away for all the photographers to see.
And so the next day, this was not just in all of the New York papers, it was across the United States and around the world. And from that point forward, the sale of cigarettes to women began to rise. He had made them socially acceptable with a single symbolic act.
The New York Times dutifully embraced their role for the stunt, referring to the women not as smoking cancer sticks or even to call them cigarettes, but they called them torches of freedom. It was a smashing success and sent profits for this addictive product through the roof. Bernays also helped the Aluminum Company of America, Alcoa, to avoid destroying its profits by creating the spin to the American public, that many of you still may believe today, that water fluoridation was beneficial to human health.
Chemists in many cities are helping to bring the benefits of fluoridation to children. Now, our children can have better health through fluoridated water. They can drink away tomorrow's tooth decay. Have more attractive teeth.
Regardless of the fact that it was actually an industrial waste byproduct of the aluminum and fertilizer industries that up until then had been responsible for poisoning the air, water, and soil to such a degree that it had maimed hundreds of thousands of livestock surrounding the Alcoa plants. Bernays used the ADA and the media to help the company go from paying inordinate amounts of money to dispose of the toxic waste safely to ultimately instead be paid for the waste by cities all over America for its injection into our water supply. Bernays was very honest when he said in his book, "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country." Unfortunately, mere business profits were hardly ever the only motive of Bernays or Tavistock's PR assignments for the world. Lying propaganda such as this has spawned and funded not some, but most wars. It's led the good old United States of America to overthrow multiple democratically elected leaders, as well as justified or underplayed the deaths of tens of millions of people from all over the world. But that's a topic for another video.
Here's the big question. What if, and this is for unbelievers obviously, but what if the very same dark hierarchy that is grasping for our very minds through 5G, what if that same hierarchy is the same one that taught you to question whether God was real in the first place? That taught you by saying it in different ways over and over.
One thing to talk to Jesus. It's another thing when Jesus talks to you.
Exactly. Okay, well, that's different.
Through music, through your heroes, through your celebrities, through exposés that are promoting only the hypocrisy in those who believe, through the PR that is only talking about the ones that are pretending to be of God, rather than truly righteous people who are doing what we were told to do. What if they were doing all that to intentionally teach you that believing in God and Satan is for the uneducated. I mean, if you were the worst kind of evil and you wanted to control the world and lessen your chance of being exposed, isn't that what you would do? Convince the world that you aren't real?